This was a nice setup for the next episode. Pokemon! 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 Hello everyone, I'm Dustin, Benzel, and welcome to another Pokemon XY&Z anime discussion. Today we're going to discuss the Ninja Village episode that just aired recently, and a little bit of other upcoming episodes a little bit. I have notes. I'm not going to do a full synopsis of the episode like I've done before, where I look at the pictures and talk about the episode in general. So I wrote down notes, a lot of notes, and I'm just going to read those notes, and I'm going to hopefully make this video a lot shorter because I didn't like that the last video I did was 45 minutes. But you can see how long this video is and realize that I may or may not be happy with it depending on the length. So like I said, I'm just not going to do a full synopsis and do a review that way. What I'm just going to do is I have 10 notes for the episode, well technically 9, but yeah, so then we'll just discuss those notes and that'll just be my mini review for the episode. Hopefully this will work out. So let's jump right into this particular note. So the first one I have is Ash is training his Frogadier, something about a gym. And I'm afraid that this is meaning he's training for the next gym, or I'm hoping that it was actually about Olympia, but as I don't speak Japanese and I can only pick up few key words that have been repeated multiple times, I don't know what it was talking about, but I'm afraid that they're having Frogadier Greninja training for the next gym. I do not want Greninja battling against Wolfric. If it's a 3-on-3, hell no. Okay? If it's more than a 3-on-3, 4 versus 4, 5 versus 5, even a full battle, I am perfectly okay with that. But not if it's a 3-on-3. So Greninja can stay away from against Wolfric. So, and then of course they run into Sandpie, got Puny-chan searching for the surrounding area, and then seeing Sandpie and Greninja. It sees silhouettes, and then Frogadier uses frubbles, which was deflected by Water Shuriken and stuff. So, also because I am doing notes, there probably won't be as many images to show you, but I will show you some very important ones that I think are really neat. So I'll at least show you the characters here and there or whatever. So anyway, so then they're like eating lunch and stuff or whatever, and then they're talking about the Ninja Village or whatever. And then of course they go to the Ninja Village, and based on what I've saw, apparently Sandpie hasn't been in the village since he left with his Froakie. Now, I know this isn't confirmed at all because I don't speak Japanese, but I did hear Karamatsu and Shinka within the dialogue during this whole time, indicating that his Froakie has evolved, and based on how everyone was acting, it seemed like Sandpie hadn't been in the Ninja Village for a very long time, not since he left with his Froakie, and of course now he has a Greninja. So that is pretty interesting to note. So of course they're reuniting with everybody, Ippei, Mihai, and stuff, and then of course they're just introduced with like Ash and everybody, and then the Ninja Village comes up, and I can't be for sure, but it may be that the village has heard of Ash from Saizo, and because the Ninja Village walks up and says Ash's name. He says Satoshi-kun or whatever, Satoshi-kun, and it seems like and then the Ninja Village leader was talking about Saizo, I believe, and we got a flashback of Saizo and his barbacle, and so yeah, so it might be that Ash is known by the village leader because of Saizo's report and stuff. But the interesting thing is, and this is confirmed based on the VA list, that Saizo is listed for the next episode, so he may appear in some fashion or another. Maybe not necessarily Barber Oracle, his Pokemon, but potentially we'll get to see Saizo in some fashion next episode. Maybe discussion with Sanpai or Ash and stuff or whatever. Maybe flashback, maybe a video conference call or whatever. But Saizo is set to appear next episode, the 7th episode. So anyway, so then we moved on, and Bonnie is impressed with the female ninja there because the village elder is, of course, a dirty old man, just like all anime apparently, where the elders are pervy creatures. So he's like kind of rubbing up against the female ninja there, who I think her name is Shinobu. And Shinobu like basically turns into a stick, I guess, or smokes out and becomes a stick, and then shows up elsewhere, indicating a ninja technique. And Bonnie, who's impressed, um, asked Shinobu to be with her brother and stuff, and then of course Clemont is very embarrassed. And then we get something very interesting. I don't know if I've seen every single episode where Bonnie has asked a woman to be with Clemont, or a girl to be with Clemont, but in this particular episode, there was a huge crowd. There was Sanpai's brother, Sanpai, Ash, and everybody, Shinobu, the ninja village, and then there was these other villagers surrounding the area just watching this. So I can only imagine that even though he didn't act differently, he didn't act more extreme, that Clemont could have been in a very embarrassing situation. The more interesting thing is, and there was this comic relief of some sort, is that Shinobu is apparently using some kind of disguise in her normal form that we see throughout the whole entire episode, and you'll see an image, but apparently Shinobu actually might be an old woman, and she's using a disguise to appear younger. And of course, this creepy scene with this old lady actually scares Clemont and Bonnie. I'm sure there's a specific ninja technique about disguising one's form or whatever, but it's interesting that Shinobu is apparently an older woman or whatever. So anyway, so then after that, Nihei decides to battle against Sanpai to see how far he's gotten, I'm assuming. And in the beginning, it seems that Sanpai kind of does very well against against Venusaur. But then a Razor Leaf, not Petal Dance as I thought, or Petal Blizzard that I thought in the previous video, uh, following Razor Leaf and Solar Beam, that ends up knocking out Sanpai's Greninja or whatever. But the thing that we thought that Greninja did very well in the beginning of the battle was actually not real. It was actually blocked by Venusaur's Vine Whip. We saw Sanpai using his Greninja's Night Slash, I believe. I'm assuming it was Night Slash. And Night Slash actually collided the Venusaur, and we're like, oh, hey, dealt a damage to Venusaur. But in reality, Nihei used Venusaur's Vine Whip to block the attack, so it actually didn't deal any damage based on the extra flashback scene that we got. And so it does actually have Petal Blizzard Venusaur, but Petal Blizzard is of course pink in color. I thought it was that green attack that we saw. It looked a little too weird to be Razor Leaf. I must have forgot that they changed Razor Leaf to be glowing leaves or whatever. Now that I think about it, I think Ramos's Go-Goat had Vine Whip, so maybe I should have known. But it just the way that it seemed like it seemed like it was Petal Blizzard. But Petal Blizzard is of course pink in color, and it wasn't used as an attack, but it was just used to get out of the situation, kind of like how Ramos used uh, Razor Leaf, I believe, in the gym battle to escape, kind of. So, I don't know, maybe Ramos is secretly a ninja or something, or has ninja techniques of some sort. So anyway, that's that, and then of course they go into Sanpai's room where he hasn't been in a very long time, and he enjoying the quiet. And then of course Dedenne and Puny-chan find a trap door of sorts. Dedenne is bouncing on something, and then it just opens up, and then they disappear. And then of course Bonnie's like freaking out where Dedenne and Puny-chan are. So then of course Sanpai reveals that there's this trapdoor or whatever, and then Bonnie jumps in, then Clemont goes afterwards, and then it's revealed that it's actually a slide going down a location or whatever, where, of course, then Nihei actually catches Dedenne and Puny-chan, and then Bonnie is, and then of course Ippei catches Bonnie, and then Clemont just falls on the ground, and then Ash lands normally. And apparently, it looks like they're in a mountain of some sort. It looks like they're inside of a hollowed out mountain or some sort of cave or whatever. And Ippei and Nihei are near a house, a special house or whatever. And b- based on my assumptions, this isn't confirmed, but I think this particular house of whatever that's in the middle of this area is actually a house that has secrets to the ninja village, or houses the secrets to the ninja village. So then they go inside, and here's something that is probably going to be a very long note that I'm going to mention, and I do have images of this. But we see images of three Pokemon. One of them is Hero Greninja, which is similar to Ash Greninja, but not identical. But there seems to be other two Pokemon, and they seem like they are different than the actual Pokemon. One is Staraptor, at least I think it's Staraptor, and the other, of course, is Heatmore. Now, the Staraptor image, it kind of looks like there's like some sort of symbol on its forehead, kind of like a I'm not like a seal or a rune, RUNE kind of like thing. If you've ever seen Yu-Gi-Oh, and you've seen the what seal of Orichalcos or whatever, it kind of looks kind of like that. Maybe I'll pop in an image of what it kind of looks like. But yeah, so now, if we assume, of course, that Ash Greninja, the concept that creates Ash Greninja, not necessarily Ash Greninja itself, is considered to be synchro evolution, and that concept will exist in the following games. Hopefully, they'll be revealed very soon this month, like in a couple of days, or like 16 days from now or something, or 20 days from now, or 10 days, 13 days, something like that. When Korokoro comes out, maybe they'll reveal games, and they will reveal Synchro Evolution, and of course they'll reveal Synchro Evolution Greninja, which is similar to Ash Greninja, but will have aesthetic differences, like the facial appearances will be different, and of course maybe we'll get Staraptor and Heatmore being Synchro Evolution Pokemon. So, but maybe I just misunderstood, and maybe Hero Greninja was the only important Pokemon in those three images. So maybe it was just Hero Greninja, and so yeah. And then I made a note here that I hate how subs take forever for Pokemon. They take at least a week or a week and a half before Pokemon subs come out. And other animes, their subs come out in like a day or two or whatever. So it's a little disappointing that there's no subs for the Pokemon for a long time, because this is an episode that I really wish had subs as soon as possible. Hope maybe I'll check to see if there's subs for the fifth episode and just watch that. But yeah, shame that there are no subs in here. But yeah, anyway, my point is, could we expect to see Synchro Staraptor or Synchro Heatmore in the future? Or maybe they'll get Mega Evolutions. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So then, of course, we have Team Rocket trying to capture Pokemon, but the Ninja Army attacks the village with Skarmory. Everyone is alerted. Ippei, Ash Senpai, and Ash protect the village elder. When the village elder is taken by Kagetomo, the leader, with the Weavile, Senpai and Ash jump after him. When Serena and Shinobu, Clemont, and Bonnie try to catch up, a miscalculated attempt from Team Rocket ends up catching their attention. The Senpai and Ash are on their own. So Serena, Clemont, and everyone are going to be dealing with Team Rocket and the Skarmory in the center of the village, while Ash and Senpai are trying to capture Senpai and Ash are trying to get up with Kagetomo and catch up so that they can rescue the village elder. So anyway, a man by the name of Haidayu, sorry if I'm mispronouncing these names horribly, at least I believe that's his name, Bulbapedia seems to think that's his name, shows up and blocks Ash and Senpai, and he's the one that it has a Bisharp. And of course, that's basically when the episode comes to the end. However, there's one final note here. and it's of course Pokemon TV addresses frubbles, the concept that Froakie and Frogadier have, but it was mostly just about Froakie, and of course it has frubbles, and then at the end we get, of course, Santa Froakie or Froakie Claus. So that's basically the end of everything and revolved around this. So pretty good episode. I enjoyed it. Great episode. A great, good setup episode. It was very nice. It had an introduction to the Ninja Village, and then near the second half of the episode, we actually got tension and build up to the thing that will hopefully be concluded next episode. Of course, it's going to be concluded because the following episode, after the seventh episode, is Eevee. So it'd be kind of weird if it didn't conclude yet. But anyway, good setup. So hopefully everything will be resolved in the next episode. So the preview basically showed us scenes that we've already know about and scenes we've already seen before, but I did have some notes here, and of course I will have at least 4 images for the next for the preview, and of course 2 of them are going to be Kagetomo and Haidau's face, the ninjas that are battling against Ippei and Sanpai and Ash. Ippei's battling against Kagetomo, and of course, Sanpai and Ash are battling against Haidiaru, or whatever his name is. And of course, Frogadier evolves in the spout of water. Frogadier is glowing, and then there's this water that's gushing, and it's a really cool evolution sequence to me. It's probably one of the coolest evolution sequences that we've ever seen. I enjoyed Fletchling and Fletchender blocking attacks and absorbing that energy to become the next evolution and whatever, but this evolution sequence that we see is very dynamic because in the evolution glow is this water and it's like surrounding Frogadier, and if that's what how Frogadier evolves into Greninja, I think we've got something that could top any evolution because that scene is pretty epic. I don't know if I'm going to get a clear shot of that, but hopefully the shot that I will show you will at least show the spout of water as well as the evolution glow. But yeah, if I had a high resolution photo to show you, it'd be really epic to see. So I'm looking forward to next episode, definitely. And of course, we also got the birth of Ash Greninja showing up in the next episode. So of course, here's some other notes within the episode that I need to talk about, and then we'll move on to other things. So the first one is Haidau, or the person with Bisharp. Bisharp's trainer is apparently an assassin. We've got a summary for the 6th episode or the 7th episode that said that Kagetomo sends an assassin to get Ippei, but of course that assassin ends up battling against Ash and Senpai. So a lot of people think this is a problem for kids, that there's an assassin, and even though assassin might be considered a dark and evil thing, assassin is also just the title of the job in many RPGs that like feature ninjas. I think assassin might be a job title for like something like Final Fantasy Tactics or Fire Emblem, or even there was a Game Boy Advance game that was very similar to Final Fantasy Tactics, and I can't remember, and I think it was based off of the Ninja Gaiden series or whatever. Maybe it was like Ninja Gaiden Tactics or something like that. That may have also had assassin as an art as a job title. So even though assassin typically refers to a person that murders someone of high importance, like a leader or something, or like the president of a country, if the president was murdered by someone, the person who killed that individual would be considered an assassin. So even though it has dark tones, I think it's just a high job title. So maybe if Pokemon wasn't for kids, maybe this assassin went around and actually did kill people, like other animes have shown where there have been many deaths, but Pokemon typically doesn't show a lot of deaths. So maybe it's just a job title, and maybe it's just someone who has some kind of importance of blocking people or knocking out people. Maybe assassin in terms of Pokemon just means a trainer that really damages the trainer and the Pokemon, so they can't really do anything. But I don't necessarily think it's bad. I don't know if we're actually going to get a name change. I don't know if there's any sort of assassin job title that would be changed for the Western audiences in the dub, but I guess we'll have to wait and see, although I'll probably not mention it, but I guess we'll have to see if something happens with that. So anyway, I have this second note, and of course it's finally, Frogadier has finally evolved into Greninja. I cannot wait. So anyway, we got some speculation here that I want to make note in. In the opening, we see Ash Greninja in its true form. Without any torrent of water, we of course see that as well, but in a cooler, more stylized format. But for the most part, we see Ash Greninja in its regular form. In the preview, all we have, and of course the preview doesn't show everything, all we have is Greninja in this torrent of water, surrounded by water. And some people think it's waterfall, some people might think it's the ability torrent. Maybe Frogadier was damaged, and when it evolved into Greninja, maybe it was activated torrent as well. But I think it's just the way that it is. Maybe it's just Greninja's aesthetic appeal, maybe as a result of the water shuriken on its back or whatever. But since I said, but I say here that it could just be the preview being misleading, and maybe we'll see Ash Greninja in its regular form. But my ultimate point of this particular note is, if Greninja is going to be a thing when it actually happens till near the end of the episode, I'm really hoping that it will be Ash that will save the Ninja Village. Like, Ippei will not necessarily fail against Kagetomo. It's just that Kagetomo will just be a little bit superior to Ippei, and then Ash will come in with his Ash Greninja and save the day, and then maybe we'll get some exposition about Ash Greninja and Hero Greninja there, and it'll be interesting. I know it should be primarily about Sanpai and Ippei trying to protect their ninja village elder, but I don't know, it's kind of weird how Ash's Pokemon, especially Froakie and Frogadier, have evolved in plots that may not necessarily be focused on Ash. So it would still be nice if Ash was instrumental in saving the village elder, because Ippei couldn't quite do it as much, but whatever. That's just me. So anyway, I expect next week to be full of hype, and I cannot wait, and I really wish it was next week already. Forget this next week, let's just let it be Thursday again. So anyway, let's move on to other things so I can finish off this particular episode, or this particular video. The only thing that I have here is one little note about the Eevee episode, which is of course right after, and we got a little summary here, and it's an interesting summary for the Eevee Pokemon Showcase. So here's what it says. Serena once again tries her hand at Tri-Pokelon or Pokemon Showcase. Eevee is participating for the first time and is feeling nervous about going on the big stage. Together with her Pokemon, Serena encourages it, and they are all set to do a performance that will strengthen the unity of their party even more. Now, I think this might be where Eevee gets over its timidness for the most part, but it might end up in a loss for Serena. But I say here, if Serena does get her final Princess Key, that's fine too, but it is a little weird that Serena can't suffer a normal loss in terms of Pokemon Showcase, and by normal loss, of course, I mean you did your best, but you still ended up losing. So if Serena does lose, it'll be because of Eevee not doing its best and therefore suffering, kind of like Jessie. Jessie did her best. There was nothing wrong with Jessie's appeals or performances or whatever, but Jessie still ended up losing. We haven't got that for Serena yet, and it seems like Serena is only going to lose these particular Pokemon showcases when there's like an unexpected event. Like the first Pokemon showcase was lost because Fennekin tripped over the giant ribbon. And this one, it seems like it'll probably be because of Eevee not doing its best. So, but Serena could still get her Pokemon Princess Key, and maybe we'll see what happens in the masterclass. So I think that's pretty much it for now for that particular episode at this moment in time. So we'll move on to one final piece of information that I have before I close this particular or finish off this video. So we have some potential evolution news of there might be a Pokemon evolving really soon, and of course it's not Frogadier, but there is this. I will show you this image again that I've shown you. I've just shown it you for Ash Greninja, my speculation of Ash Greninja that came out, and I have mentioned it in regards to Serena or Sylveon. But if you notice, there is a 2 next to Sylveon, which seems to indicate February, which means that Serena's Eevee might evolve into February as opposed to just January. But I think the TV Kun information that will come out the 26th. So 16 days after Frogadier evolves, mind you. The 26th, there's this image with TV Kun, and it basically says there's a flavor text that says Pokemon. A certain Pokemon is evolving. Now, I'll show you at least one merchandise. I don't want to show you all 3 of the merchandise, but there is a lot of merchandise that has shown that Noibat is seemingly evolving before Eevee, so that's why I think we're going to get a January Pokemon evolution, and we see all this merchandise with Noivern, with a no Noibat, but we also have the presence of plain old Eevee not being Sylveon. And there's like 3 of them, but I'm only going to show you one, and it'll be just your typical XY&Z merchandise that has Ash Greninja, Noivern, but it also has Eevee. Now, as I see here as a cautionary notice, it does not mean that the Pokemon that TV Kun has mentioned is Noibat. It could be Eevee, and it could evolve into January, and the February thing that's referring to February might just be Sylveon focus. So it just might just be a very major role. It might be a big major role within February where Sylveon actually gets a lot of focus. Potentially, if Serena loses this upcoming Pokemon Showcase, I would assume that in February would be another Pokemon Showcase for Serena to get her final Princess Key where she will use Sylveon. So here are some personal notes that I have here. Let's go over them quickly. So I've given up on believing Noibat will ever receive proper focus. It's a little too late. I mean, if the first episode of January has Noibat battling using moves, and then the following episode is an evolution as like some sort of Noibat 2-part or whatever, it's still going to be a little too late. So I mean, it'll be yay Noivern when Noibat happens, but I'm disappointed that it might actually happen like this, and I've said this before, and of course, I will address a lot of these problems when these episodes come out in the future. But anyway, my second note is, even though Eevee does have more reasons to evolve first, my problem with the whole situation is how can a Pokemon that's been on the team, on Serena's team, 10 episodes less than Noibat and receive so much more focus? That's my problem here. You know, I mean, there could be many reasons why Noibat didn't receive any focus. Maybe Yuka Terasaki, the voice of Onbat, or Noibat in Japan, maybe she couldn't voice Noibat very much, so they couldn't focus on Noibat very much. And maybe Eevee was in a situation where they could focus more on Eevee, or maybe they just didn't care. Maybe the writers didn't care to make any Noibat focus episode, or maybe the executive producers never approved of any focus, and it just boils down to just Noibat evolving into Noivern, because that's really the important thing that they only cared about. But anyway, as I say here, even though it might be referring to Noibat and Noibat might evolve into January, I still expect Eevee to evolve soon after in February, as that image shows. So So despite the fact that I hate everything that's going on with Noibat not receiving focus, I'm still looking forward to an evolution into Noivern. It's just that I wish that Noibat wasn't caught as a baby Pokemon. And I'm pretty sure in terms of main cast, it's only referring to Eevee and Noibat because we haven't gotten any other merchandise or focus in any other Pokemon. I don't think Braixen is going to evolve. I don't think Chespin, Bunnelby is going to evolve. I don't think Pancham is going to evolve. Now, it could be referring to Sawyer's Grovyle evolving, but I just don't really care about that because Sawyer isn't part of the main cast. So it's not like it'll be a surprise because we already know that Sawyer's Grovyle is going to evolve because the opening shows Mega Sceptile being controlled by Sawyer. So it's not really going to be a surprise, personally. So that's pretty much it. I will discuss more information and I will discuss these things more in depth when we get to those particular episodes or we get new information. So hopefully in about 10 or 13 days or so, Coral will be revealed and maybe I can do a discussion then. Maybe it'll reveal a lot of information. Hopefully, I mean, there is something supposed to be big happening, but I just expect a silhouette of Volcanion and talking about the movie in terms of anime. But hopefully, they'll reveal Pokemon Z, the games, and then I will, of course, make a discussion then. So, in this instance, I will be doing a special video for Koro if it's as big as opposed to just slapping it onto a mini review or a review of a Pokemon episode. So it'll just be about that, and I'll discuss everything that's been translated and stuff. And I'll try and wait until a lot of Koro is out before I do a video. I'm not going to do the first images of Koro and talk about it. I'm going to wait until a lot of the images come Koro. So it may be until like December 15th, 14th, 13th, around there that I will be making a video. So potentially the video will probably be released before the Eevee Pokemon Showcase episode coming out the 17th of December. So yeah. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm hoping that by December 17th or whatever, by the next Eevee episode, we'll get new titles for the new year. Hopefully we'll get like the first and second episodes of January. Maybe we'll get some Pokemon data broadcast Pokemon. But this pretty much covers this particular video. I've discussed everything, I believe. If I missed something, I apologize. I'll probably address it in future videos. So I'm looking forward to next week. Hopefully you are, when Frogadier will finally evolve and we'll get a taste of Ash Greninja, and potentially we'll get some information going on, and hopefully we'll get some really neat information about the upcoming 2006 when we get towards January 2016. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'm Dustin Benzel, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.